فاطمه جان، نفیسه جان، بابا غذا نمیخورید؟ غذا آماده است ها. بچه ها غذاتون حاضر اگه بخواید بخورید ها.
بعدا میخوریم.
باشه، هر جور راحتید. هر موقع که به یه ایستگاه میرسم هوای مغزم داغ میشه و یک سوال: خب ایده تو کی به مقصد میرسه؟ در تمام مسیرها به یک چیز بیشتر فکر نمی کنم و آن هم رسیدنه. رسیدن، اما به کجا؟ تمام کجاها در یک ناکجای من خلاصه میشه. ایده اجرا، ایده اجرا، ایده اجرا و بعد خلاصی از یک رنج و اندوه درونی که بغض جا کرده تو هزار توی روحم رو خالی کنم. به یک واگن پر از سوال فکر میکنم که جز اندوه بشری مسافری نداره. تمام افکارم انگار به دنبال سبقت گرفتنن. سال هاست که عادت کردم اینجوری زندگی کنم. با خودم دائما در مسابقه. انگار پشت هر حرفم صدای نوای خشن و خشم و سرکوبه و هنوز قصه در راه. دوران نوجوانی من تو جنگ ایران و عراق سپری شد و نتیجهش کوله‌بار خاطرات تلخه. یادمه تو دوران دبیرستان یکی از دوستام امروز رفت جبهه و فردا جنازه‌ش اومد. همین روحیه منو خیلی به هم ریخت. باعث شد که با رنگ خداحافظی کنم و فقط رنگ سیاه و خاکستری برام باقی موند. تو سالهای اول کاریم تو آموزش پرورش با بهرام دبیری و سیمین اکرامی آشنا شدم. همین آشنایی ماحصلش شد آشنایی با اساتیدی مثل بهمن مؤسس و سایرین که باعث تغییر نوع نگاه هنری من شد. با حضورم تو شب‌های شعر با شعر نو آشنا شدم و عاشق و شیفته سهراب سپهریم. خیلی تلاش کردم برای آشنا شدن بیشتر با سهراب و تو این تلاش باعث شد که با پروانه سپهری آشنا بشم. خانم سپهری خیلی کمک کردن تا من زاویه دید روشن‌تری نسبت به فضای فکری سهراب پیدا کنم و همین باعث تغییر نگاه من شد. با ورودم به دنیای تئاتر و سینما با یک جهانبینی جدید و ایدئولوژی جدید آشنا شدم که خب این باعث شد که شکل و فرم تفکرات من شکل فریمگونه به خودش بگیره و اسلو موشن و همه چیز رو از زاویه دید تک فریم ها نگاه کنم. توی زمانی که کار اداری میکردم با گروه‌های سیاسی آشنا شدم و برخوردم با گروه‌های سیاسی باعث شد که یک رابطه‌ای با این اجتماع در حال تضاد پیدا کنم که فکر کنم شاید میتونم راه حلی پیدا کنم برای کمک به دیگران. هرچند یه سرابی بیشتر نبود تو اون فضای غبارآلود و به هم ریخته ضد نقیض ایران و همین باعث سرخوردگیم شد و پناه بردنم دوباره به رنگ و قلمو.
Yeah, so this one has all of these, but I would like to add more to this.
Which one would you like to add?
I want to add all of these as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because that then I can show. But can you send it to me in Word,
okay,
so that I can format it the same as the other ones that we have? Would that be okay? Thanks. Yeah. No, that would be great. Yeah, because I'm just sending some artist profiles over to this curator, so it would be really, because you're here as well, so it would be really good if we can, yeah.
و خب همیشه اینطوری نبوده. Excuse me, if possible please advise me how can I join the gallery? I checked your gallery and looking your artwork in your gallery, and I think in your gallery style near my style, because I call you. Yes, sure, I am sending the several times email. No, unfortunately until now do not respond me. Thank you. Okay, bye. و تنها چیزی که شنیدم نه بود. ولی من ناامید نشدم و ادامه دادم. تولید کردم، ایمیل دادم. بزرگترین مشکل تو اینجا به نظر من اینه که هیچ حمایتی از آرتیستی که به عنوان غریبه، به عنوان خارجی وارد میشه تو این مملکت نیست. هیچ مجموعه‌ای رو نداریم که از آرتیست حمایت بکنه، ساپورتش بکنه و کمک کنه رشد کنه. به خاطر اینکه این آرتیست بالاخره، یا این شخص، اصلا بحث آرتیست رو بذاریم کنار، خب بالاخره سرمایه است وارد این مملکت شده و نیاز به این داره که حمایت بشه تا به چشم بیاد، کاراشو ببینن، بشناسنش و بعد امکان اینو داشته باشه که کاراشو عرضه کنه و به واسطش درآمد کسب کنه. اگر اینطوری نباشه خب این انرژی، این پتانسیل عملاً از بین میره و وقتی از بین بره خب از نظر اقتصادی معقول نیست برای این مملکت. زاویه دید بلند مدت لازمه نسبت به آرت و اینکه آرتیست چجوری باید کاراشو ارائه بده. من برای اینکه بتونم کارا رو تولید کنم ترای میکنم اول نگاه کنم ببینم کدوم یکی از خبرها برام بولده و بیشتر جنبه عمومی داره. بعد از اینکه شروع میکنم طراحی میکنم، طراحی مختلف از سمبولایی که خودم دارم استفاده میکنم، همه اینا روی هم یه ایده‌ای بهم میده که این ایده رو معمولاً وقتی که خوابم باهاش درگیرم. همه اینا دست به دست میده با بک‌گراند هایی که تو ذهن من هست، با اتفاقاتی که برای خودم افتاده، تا یه تصویر کلی برای من ایجاد میشه و بعد اون تصویر کلی که طرح اصلی منه شروع میکنه به تبدیل شدن به نقاشی و از این خوشحالم که گسستگی نیست و به عبارتی شاید داستان روایت من از مشکلاتی که داره اینجوری بیان میشه، اتفاقاتی که برای خودم افتاده، بی تأثیر نیست تو شکل گیری این نوع آرت و خب یه مقداری فهمیدنش برای افراد بدون مطالعه کردن پی نوشته‌ای که زیرش هست سخت میشه. باید حتما بخونن چون خیلی سمبول‌های مختلف توش هست که هر کدوم مینینگ‌های مختلف داره و بعد که متوجه میشن پس چرا عزیز اینجا مثلا به عنوان مثال یه زن قاجاری گذاشته، یا چرا مثلا اینجا این رنگ رو استفاده کرده، چرا اینجا بچه با بادبادک داره میدوه. اینا نمادهای اون آدم هن. شخص خاصی نیستن. شاید بتونیم به نوعی بگیم تلقی میشه بر تمام اون آدمایی که تو اون موقعیت قرار میگیرن که به نوعی من خودم هم همه این موقعیت ها رو تجربه کردم. مثلا جنگ ایران و عراق، از دست دادن عزیزان، بمباران، موشکباران و اتفاقات مختلف، یا انقلاب ایران که باعث شد شاه بره، خمینی بیاد و همه اینها یه جورایی تجربه شخصی خود منم بوده. تو زندگی من اتفاق افتاده. وقتی که بررسی میکنی نقاشی ها رو، به اعتقاد خود من روایت تصویری از زندگی خود من، هر گوشه ای از اینها یه جورایی متصل به زندگی خود من و بیانی از گذشته خود منه و شاید یه روزی برسه که نقاشی‌هایی بکشم که بیانی از آینده من باشه. نمیدونم، فعلا من تو این مسیر دارم حرکت میکنم، ولی چه اتفاقی تو آینده بیفته I don't know. گاهی به خودم تلنگر میزنم که هدفت تو زندگی چیه؟ چقدر بزرگ فکر میکنی؟ و بعد کنار سوال میشینم و به دنبال قانع کردنش میگردم. دستش رو میگیرم و به درون روحم دعوتش میکنم. فکر میکنم طول و عرض زندگی هر دو با ارزشند و عمق اون خیلی مهم‌تره. بیا با من تا چیزی شبیه خودم رو بهتون نشون بدم. این گودال چالنجره، عمیق‌ترین گودال جهان، ولی کم وسعت. من به دنبال تأثیرگذاری بر روی جامعه‌ام به صورت تمام. اون جایی که هیچ کس با لطافت از خشونت و بحران سخن نمیگه. آرزو دارم اونقدر بزرگ بشم که تو جهان به چشم بیام و بتونم از این بزرگی سایه نقش و رنگ و خط رو برای حل بحران آدمیزاد استفاده کنم. مثل باران باش که بی خساست به همه میباره، مثل آفتاب که بی مصاحبه نورش رو هدیه میده و بعد دست در دست دیگران نور و عشق و رحمت رو با هنر آغشته کنیم تا جهانی بسازیم بهتر برای فردا.
Artist Robert Forman and his wife, photographer Robin Schwartz, live in a converted firehouse in Hoboken, New Jersey. It happens to be the firehouse where Frank Sinatra's father was once the chief. It makes for a terrific artist studio.
And I still sometimes hear they have Frank Sinatra tours, and I can hear the speaker outside.
Robert's work is strikingly original, difficult to pigeonhole in the art world. He paints, but doesn't use paint. His materials, yarn, thread, and Elmer's glue.
In high school, I was making collages, cutting magazines out and gluing them, and I started to glue yarn on one of the pictures yarn I got from my mother's sewing kit, and I liked the way it looked, and I ended up covering all the collage with yarn, and that was my first yarn painting. I didn't think that's what I would do.
Robert studied at New York's Cooper Union, one of America's most prestigious art schools.
My first year at Cooper Union, I didn't tell anyone I did yarn. I tried to paint. And I remember my teachers, like Wolf Kahn, a good painter, said to me, "Robert, you draw so well, but you look like you've never painted before." And I had to admit I never had.
Another teacher at Cooper Union, acclaimed abstract painter Jack Whitten, became his most important mentor.
And I wasn't a very good student, that I didn't always come to class. So I skipped a lot of his classes, but I knew to come near the end to show him what I'd done for the grade, and they'd moved. I'd missed the class. And I went back to my studio on 14th Street, and someone buzzes, and it's Jack Whitten. He said, "Robert, you didn't come to class, let me," and he came up to my studio, looked around and said, "Robert, I think yarn, you should stick to the yarn. We'll call it painting."
Years after art school, Robert discovered that there was actually a tradition of painting with yarn among the Huichol people of Mexico. He traveled on a Fulbright scholarship to visit and has returned many times.
My Fulbright thing was to meet fellow yarn painters and talk shop. I thought I'd invented the technique, and I called them string pictures, which to me that wasn't the word, but Huichols in the art world, they call them yarn paintings. I think string pictures or yarn paintings, it's a pretty straightforward technique. The Huichols use wax, but I use Elmer's glue. I start with the idea, and then I do drawings. I do a full-size drawing, the size of the picture. And for all the face, I use this kind of cotton. It's a very thin, dull cotton. I think it really looks good for skin. I use sewing thread as my thinnest, or something called, if you use cotton pearl, it's number 12. That's my thinnest. And the thickest would be number 3, which is about a quarter, maybe an 1/8 inch thick. So there are 4 basic thicknesses, and then I use cotton, linen, rayon, or silk. If I'm doing a face, I'm using my finest string.
Robert's work is part of a group show at the Montclair Art Museum called New Directions in Fiber Art.
He's been working with this amazing technique. It's so precise, where he indicates shadows and colors through these very closely aligned pieces of thread that he glues down with Elmer's wood glue to a board, and then he seals it all with fabric guard. And it's incredible work that I have admired for many years.
In my picture Muse, I melded 3 people into one. So the way I did it, I drew them each separately, traced it and transferred it to the board in different color carbon papers, and then when I glued it, it was every 3rd string would be a different figure. But the direction of the string is important also, so the direction was one of the figures, so that dominated it. But you can see the other 2 figures in the picture. I love being in the studio. And that's where I feel most comfortable. Almost maybe a little too much. I have an idea, and all of a sudden I'm working on it and I see it coming to life. It's exciting. Can you put me up close?
Hi, my name is Heidi McKenzie, and I'm in Toronto, Canada. So these are 3 of the illuminated series of lanterns of the indentured women who came from the Caribbean. And the other piece in this series that I wanted to show you up here is Division. And this is a wall divider that brings the home life of the indentured laborers, who are really the new slaves, into the homes of the plantation owners. In the summer of 2019, I was invited to do a solo show in the shop of the Gardner Museum of Ceramics in Toronto. And this is one of the pivotal pieces that was exhibited in 13 pieces. And it is literally children's building blocks that I've hand built from my slab roller in slabs, and made out of a Heidi Grog stoneware and affixed on the raw clay ancestral images of both my mother's side of the family and my father's side of the family. So I have an equal number of images of my mother's Irish heritage as I have of my father's Indo-Trinidadian background on each object. And I've been invited by the Canadian Clay and Glass Gallery to expand this piece to a larger piece and installation for a show in 2021. And these are iron oxide ceramic decals that, once fired, the iron in the toner of the photograph will come out this beautiful rich sepia tone. This is my second working room in my studio space. And what I've laid out for you here is just a sample of something that I've been working on. I really wanted to show you House of Cards, which is a piece that was also in Family Matters, that was a testament to my father's life and the fragility of his life as an immigrant and a new Canadian building a home for his family. And I made that piece out of these ceramic substrate tiles that are 0.02 inches thick. And I built it as a house of cards. And I had 26 cards steepled. But this piece is about my body, and these are all, it's called Body Imaged. And there are actually 42 pieces in the complete piece. And I've done a whole other body of work around my body. These are the next set of 6 lanterns that I'm working out right now. I've just finished firing the tiles. And I wanted to show you how they're made, unlike the House of Cards that were made on commercial tiles. These are tiles that I made myself in low-fire porcelain. I actually made the small batches of clay, and hand-pressed the tiles onto plaster bats and let them dry, and it was a really difficult process to figure out the shrinkage and the size. In fact, in the end, I had to make them slightly larger and then trim them down with a wet saw to get them to be the exact size to fit into the lanterns. You can see here actually the saw mark on this tile, and you can get a sense of the hand pressed texture of the tile. And I would have used the flat surface that was on the plaster to apply the iron oxide decal. And I'm just going to take this up to the light to show you that once they're lit from within, they will really be illuminated. Thank you for coming to my studio. I'd like to invite you to check out my website to see more of what I've done in the past and continue to see what I'll be doing in the future. And to check out my Instagram to follow my process. It's at Heidi_art.
Hello, my name is Hope Osborn, and I'm happy to meet you halfway at least, and hope you are enjoying the art more than you enjoy listening to me. I don't do videos or selfies or anything like that. because I really don't have a whole lot to show as far as a studio is concerned. I don't have a nice canvas laid out with beautiful work on it, and I wouldn't have a lamp in the background. I'm trying to hide with my head because I'm residing temporarily in a hotel. I would have a thing of paintbrushes or something. No, my tools of trade are my camera. You'll see that it's non-professional. It's sort of middle grade quality, but what is important to me is that it's light, it's quick, I can pull it out very easily, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time for me to pull something out and maybe miss something. It also is the basis, the photographs I take are the basis for things like the black and white photography, which is a niche of mine. They are the basis of photo essays that I write, and they are the basis of every one of my abstracts. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 photos layered upon each other, and then run through different layers, as I put it, but filters through different apps that you'll see on one of my tools of my trade is the iPad, which this is actually a step up for me, and I'm still really happy to get this iPad because all of my abstracts before that had to be created on phones like this iPhone, and this is an 8. And that means that I had to keep track of not it deteriorating and the quality being kept up. So, but you also wouldn't see me dressed kind of professionally like this, or anything more than me laying back in a maxi dress and intently focused on what I was doing, changing apps, doing layers, picking up photographs, going through things, and all to the music you may or may not be hearing right now in the background. It would be louder, the music would. But that is what I use for my studio. And yes, that is an orchid back there because I have a little orchid garden that I brought with me to the hotel. That is how much I'm dedicated to gardening, from which more art comes, and just pleasure of color. I love color, which if you look at my abstracts, you'll notice muted tones are not usually in my palette. At some point, maybe they will be, and maybe they won't. But it's been nice talking to you, and I hope to someday meet you. But in the meantime, enjoying not only my art, but the art that you see everywhere, whether it's a wonderful frame in a commercial or it's a wonderful frame in something you see on the street. It's wonderful frame in a grouping of items on a table. Take your camera, photograph it. It's art. You have created art. And that's what's important to me, is that people know that I'm not a professional artist in the fact that I don't have a degree in art. I've never had an education in art. I've just worked 3 years getting to this point and these works. Before that, I was a kid with a 110 millimeter camera, and the older people there can tell you the horrors of film and waiting on knowing whether you got a good shot or not. But enjoy your art, enjoy others' arts, create art, writing, painting, go take a course, anything, feel free to express yourself and not be held back by things like loss or time or anything else like a pandemic or anything. Just beautify life for you and for everyone else. And what's important is to express reality and imagination in ways that captivate, inspire, and inform. And I'll talk to you later.
I want the fantasy. I want to be popular. I want to be a rock star. I want to be free. I want attention. I want to belong. I want more. I want to be the best. I want love. Society tells us that we're not supposed to want. And wanting something is greedy, selfish. It's a big part of why we hide those wants. And then the people who actually express what they want, a lot of times they usually get it, and then we try to tear them down. So wanting stuff became a dirty word. These big, bold headlines are like, I'm telling on myself. It's a way to stop hiding. It's a way to stop pretending. It's really just like coming out, in a sense, on all these little desires. Love is really the basis of our human needs and desires. If we have all these sort of insecurities in the back of our mind, we're not present to the life we really have right here. But the trick is to get them out of your head so they actually exist in the world for others. It's ingrained in us.